My entitled mother steals my collectible coins worth a lot of money and eventually gets caught. And when I confront her about this, she lies to my face. And I honestly could not be more disgusted. Today, I unlocked an old memory from when I was a teenager. Important for context, in my country, from time to time, a new special coin is made. It has the same value as the others, and the only reason it's special is because of something engraved in it. It can be an animal or an important person. People like to collect them just because they are pretty, and others like to collect them to have a formal collection. This has been going on since the 2000s. Now onto the story. My best friend's aunt worked at a bank where these coins were ordered, and because of that, she had the same coins but laminated. She gave each of us one every time a new one came out, so I had a pretty big collection of those. You could get an album to store them in, but I wasn't into that much, so I had them stored, dreaming of a time where they would be worth a lot of money. Well, that was a time I used to live with my parents. And honestly, I don't have a great history with them, but they gave me a free roof over my head and food in my belly, all until I moved. I remember I traveled for a month and came back to my room evidently fully searched. I used to smoke a lot of herb in there, if you know what I mean. So coming back to my room that was very obviously rummaged through, I figured she was searching for that, and I didn't care as I didn't really cover it up. Upon further inspection in my room, I realized very quickly that my coins were missing. I had originally about 20 of them, but I only found 4 or 5 in my drawer. I was absolutely shocked by this. Worst of all, I knew it was my mother who had done this, because my father would never go through my room like this. So I confronted my mother, and once I did, she said she was only looking at them and wanted my father to see them. I know this is absolute BS, but what else can I do? I took what was left and I just hid them. What she did to the rest, I will never know, and I don't know if she sold them or used them as gifts. As a kid, I hid my stuff all the time, but I guess she took her time when she thought it was worth it, just so she could get to my coins and try and take them for herself. Much to my demise and to my own regret, even once I did get these coins back, I later discovered that 4 or 5 of them are still missing, and my only conclusion is that my mother stole those as well. And honestly, that is just overall incredibly disappointing. How disgusting of the mom to do that. She waited until her son was gone on some kind of trip for a month, and then just straight up raided his room as if he's never coming back. And she wasn't even subtle about it. She just blatantly started looking through stuff, and when she found what she wanted, she took it and ran. And that's just really disappointing, to be completely honest with you. I know if I was collecting something as a kid and somebody stole it, I would be heartbroken. But even after that of getting it back from your mom who stole it, you not only find out that some of it's missing, but then when you finally get it back officially, she steals some more of it again. I mean, personally, that is not a family I would want to keep in contact with. So I'm really sorry that that happened to you in your childhood and that your mom was such a piece of garbage, but at least you have your own life as an adult now, and hopefully you're able to redeem your own childhood and hopefully get some of those coins back in your possession. I'm not sure how much those things cost or what kind of process that would be to get some of the originals from the early 2000s, but I think it would be fun to at least collect those again and to complete the collection with what you did have, because you deserve it. You worked hard as a kid, and I think you owe it to yourself to replace those coins and to complete your collection. My dad won't stop coming to my apartment, and it's honestly driving me and my mom insane, and we're not sure what to do. My mom and I recently bought an apartment together where we split the rent and I cover the utility bills. It was intended to be a place just for her and me while my father continued to stay with his extended family. When my mom and I are together, we help each other out on chores and other needs for the house. It's a nice cooperative relationship, but with my dad in the picture, things tend to get difficult. He sort of forces himself into our small 2-bedroom apartment, kicking my mom out of her bed until she was forced to get an air mattress to sleep on in her own place. He makes us cook for him, clean for him, and he won't even get his own clothes out of the bathroom after he bathes. At any point in time, he'll make us drop whatever we're doing to attend to his needs. When he's here, neither me or my mom get any good rest. There was even a point in time where he took my mom's bed, forcing her to sleep on a thin spare mattress with a thin blanket because she and I wouldn't fit on my single bed. Recently, he took a leave off work. He used to come only once or twice a week, which is fine. He's family and it's nice to see him, but now he's here almost every day, and I don't want my mom to keep sleeping on an air mattress and attend to his needs. I tried to talk to him about it once, but he got extremely defensive. He said he just wanted to be with us and that he's not asking much. Of course I want to see my dad, but I don't want to see him 24/7. That was the entire point of us moving out. He is crossing a boundary and I can't seem seem to get him to see reason. We are absolutely miserable with him. My mom and I can't last another 2 weeks like this, and I honestly don't know what to do. My first immediate question with this story is why don't they get a divorce? But thankfully, the original poster went on to explain that in the country they live in, divorce doesn't really exist. So this is a soft separation for them, while also explaining that the dad in this situation treats his kids as well as his wife just like this all the time. He sits around and makes them do everything for him. And for me, it's starting to add up why the mom and the daughter decided, hey, I'm gonna get away from him. Because this behavior is just absolutely unacceptable. Like they moved away for a reason, and the mom is no longer with the husband because, well, divorce isn't an option, which is really unfortunate to be completely honest. And it's really disappointing that this guy is disrespecting these boundaries and coming in and basically moving in. I think at this point, it's time to just start saying no and denying him access to your apartment. You need to be very firm and say no, you cannot come in. This might be the only way for him to catch on and to know that, hey, I'm not welcome here. Like sure, maybe once or twice a week for dinner, but not to move in and kick my mom out of her bed. I think you should also encourage your mom to try and have this conversation with him. He clearly does not understand that this is a soft separation. From the sounds of it, he's just not going with that at all. So I think you need to lay down some very serious ground rules, and if anything, change the locks on your apartment. There's a good chance you probably gave him a key to your house, and honestly, you gotta get rid of that. So hopefully this works out, and hopefully he's able to see that no, he's not welcome here all the time, and that he needs to start respecting boundaries or he's just not gonna be able to come over. My fiance is always grilling me about what I'm doing on my phone, and it has gotten so obnoxious and completely exhausting. My fiance and I have been together for a year and a half. I am absolutely in love with this woman, but lately I've found myself depressed, incredibly stressed out, and possibly less in love with her. I work in IT for a private group of physicians. It is a small company and everyone is sort of close-knit. I use my own personal cell phone for work things. This was my choice as I don't like carrying around 2 phones. And the people I work with call and text me a lot, almost every day, mostly through text message. I befriended one of our employees who is female a few years back. Completely just one of those things where a lot of people we work with are kind of lame, so there's not really anyone to talk to, but we are more social and open, so we became friendly at work. I have messaged this friend about work things, work gossip, and everything in between, and even asked her about the ring I bought my fiance, just so I could get another woman's opinion, as well as the plans I had for the proposal. A few months ago, while at a work gathering that my fiance was invited to, we were all sitting at the same table, and the coworker goes on and on about the things we talked about, how excited she was about the engagement, work gossip stuff, and so on. This apparently bothered my fiance quite a bit, and she asked me a ton of questions about how much I talk to this person, as well as what I'm talking about, and if she ever flirts or if I ever flirt. She was going after every little detail. I assured her that nobody was flirting, and I answered all of her questions in detail. And even though I'm giving detail, she wanted even more detail. That happened about 3 months ago, and since then, I pretty much cannot use my phone around my fiance. She is constantly asking me what I am doing, who I am talking to, and what's that notification all about. Pretty much the whole 9 yards. To make matters even worse, this coworker texted me a few weeks ago before I left the house for work about a problem on her computer. She included a couple of emojis like a sad face and an angry face, and to be honest, this person uses a lot of emojis, and I do as well. I quite enjoy them, and they are a great way to present emotion in text messages, in my opinion at least. I was in the shower when I got the message. My fiance saw it, told me someone texted me, and I asked her to read it to me. She was instantly upset about it, and I could tell, but I blew it off knowing she had an issue with me being friends with this person, but I still had a job to do. This wasn't a message like, hey, what are you doing for lunch today, or anything like that, but rather it was a, hey, my computer isn't connecting to the VPN, sad face, angry face, can you check it out later? Well, later that day, I get home and I can tell she's bothered, but it was so ridiculous in my opinion, I just ignored it and hoped she would realize how ridiculous it was and just move on. It was sort of forgotten about for the time being, and the next days were normal until about a week ago when a doctor called me after hours at home. There were some files locked in someone else's computer, and the doctor asked, which computer ID is 799? These are files locked and I need them unlocked right now. I said, 799. Oh, that's my female coworker's computer, which just so happens to be the one I'm friends with. Yeah, I noticed earlier today she had a lot of files locked up. Everyone was pretty busy today. She probably just forgot to release them before logging out. The doctor says okay and gives them a call to have those files released. All of a sudden, I am absolutely bombarded with with questions, as well as the shower text message being brought up too. My fiance says, "So you just know her computer number from memory? You knew she was busy today?" And so on and so on. I start answering her questions and explain that yes, I manage like 70 computers and I know all of their numbers. And yes, I've been at this job for 12 years. Of course I would know the numbers. And yes, I saw she was busy. I saw that everyone was busy. Literally part of my job is to monitor those things. I continued answering every detail and even showed her on Snapchat the next day all of those things I do at work to try and make her understand and ease her mind. However, ever since the work gathering, I pretty much cannot use my phone around my fiance because she always asks me who I am talking to and what I am doing and wants to know all of the details about everything. Eventually, I brought this up to my fiance and said, "Hey, look, is there a problem here? I feel like I just can't use my phone around you. Do you not trust me or what is going on?" She says no, she trusts me. She just gets in her head sometimes. And that was pretty much that. I was vocal about this bothering me, but it was kind of brushed aside and we moved on, except it kept happening. So in order to stop all the questions, I've just stopped talking to people or checking social media, news, emails, everything. I have turned off notifications for almost every app on my phone. I have found that by doing this, I have isolated myself and now all of my attention goes to my fiance for the most part. I was cooking the other night and wanted to look up a recipe on my phone, but I was afraid that I would have to start answering a bunch of questions again, so I just made something up and I didn't have the recipe for it. I'm not sure if I'm relaying the information correctly here, but this has become such a problem that I've become depressed since I feel very isolated from my friends and my social life. A lot of my friends are homebodies, or they live out of state, and messaging or Snapchat is how we communicate. Let me also say that early on in our relationship, I removed every single female friend I had on Snapchat because that was an issue then as well. I just thought it was easier for me to remove my female friends. Mind you, these were all completely platonic, and almost all of them were lifelong type of friends, than to deal with the questions or have my fiance think anyone is up to no good. Yes, I know that was the first red flag. Anyways, I am also just completely stressed out. I am afraid of my phone making any noise or lighting up for any reason, because then I'll have to explain why and my day is just ruined because I feel like my fiance doesn't trust me whatsoever. I mean, I'm not even sure if it's a trust thing. I can't fathom why she would have a trust issue with me, as I have not given her any reason not to. We are almost always together. We live together, and I just don't know. I can't imagine how I would even be able to cheat on her or whatever she thinks. I find myself not wanting to be around her because of this. I don't text her as much while I'm at work, and now that is a problem as well because I get messages like, "Oh, you don't like talking to me during the day now?" And I mean, yeah, I'm upset about it. I don't really want to talk about how my day is going with her because it's not going well, you know? Also, because of this, my mind is in stay off your phone mode all the time. What should I do here? I've tried talking to her about it and telling her how I feel, but she just says, "I'm sorry, and I don't know why I do that." And then we move on until it happens again the next day or two. I honestly feel like I am starting to love this person less because of it, which honestly depresses me. Am I being controlled or even abused in some way? What is going on and what should I do? Your fiance is incredibly insecure, jealous, and controlling. I'm just gonna say that outright. Maybe I'm being a little harsh here, but the way she's acting is absolutely inappropriate. And this is major red flag territory for me personally. Workplace camaraderie, especially if you work from home, is one of the few things that can keep you sane. Working from home can have some great benefits to it, but you sacrifice having any employees to be friends with. So the fact that this guy can't spend any time on his phone with his friends who are basically across the country is just not fair. He is now, as a result, isolated and feeling like he doesn't love his fiance anymore. Like throughout this entire post, I was waiting for the moment where it's like, oh, that's what you're doing wrong. But you're literally doing everything you can to appeal to your fiance, who, by the way, isn't making any steps to improve her behavior. It seems like this is her pointing out all these hypothetical situations out on you without her making any steps to say, you know what, my boyfriend and future husband is being loyal. Like, why would you be paranoid of your significant other doing something if they've never had any signs or anything related to ever being disloyal to you? In my opinion, that is very controlling and abusive behavior. The fact that this has led to you being depressed, paranoid, and feeling like you can't love her anymore is enough evidence that something has to change. And this is also something I think if you ignore will only get worse. So couples therapy probably wouldn't be a terrible idea, to be completely honest with you. Or at least calling her out every time she does that, because maybe she's just actively ignoring how abusive abusive and how toxic this really is. Either way, a conversation definitely needs to be had, because if you have any hope of ever wanting to be with this person for the rest of your life, this behavior absolutely has to stop. My husband is secretly recording my female roommate behind my back, and after I told him and confronted him about this, he completely denied the issue and deleted the footage he got of her. And now I'm at a complete loss of what to do. I need to get this situation out because I'm feeling every sort of emotion and I can't tell anyone. It was a Tuesday, and me and my husband had just returned from a cafe for breakfast, and he went right downstairs to the bathroom. I decided to take our dogs for a walk, however, I couldn't find their leashes for the life of me. I look everywhere and knock on the bathroom door to ask my husband if the leashes happen to be in there. They have ended up in there before, but he wasn't responding, so I opened the door just a little bit to repeat the question. It sounded like he slammed something down, which I'm pretty sure was a laptop, and was all of a sudden very frantic. I closed the door, respected his privacy, and just tried to find other leashes. But I was curious, so I went out to the garage where there was a window into the basement bathroom. We are married and I wanted to make sure everything was okay. I peek in quickly and he was on a laptop that I had never seen before. I honestly thought nothing of it at first. I then caught a glimpse of what he was watching and I just froze. I couldn't stop watching it too. I was in utter disbelief. At first, I thought it was a sketchy video, if you know what I mean, and still wasn't too surprised. But then I noticed the video and that it was taking place in a bathroom. But the bathroom happened to have the same layout and the same towel as my roommate's bathroom upstairs. As I watched this video, a female began taking off her clothes piece by piece, as well as getting into the shower. When I saw this, I started to spiral, and everything started to come together in my head. He was spying on our roommate. I literally began to shake and convulse. I ran as fast as I can to my roommate's bathroom upstairs, all on the main floor, and noticed in the outlet a charging port. As I looked closer, there it was, a little nanny cam right in the charging port staring back at me. I felt every emotion humanly possible and had no idea what to do. I started wondering where he got this thing and then ran to our shared laptop to pull up all existing Amazon orders. I order regularly and scroll frantically, and guess what? There it is. Purchased 4 months ago. I pull the camera out of the socket and am looking everywhere for how to open it. Not finding any instructions, I rip it apart with a kitchen knife. I get it open only to find that the SD card slot was empty, but I decide to take action. I approach my husband, who is now lounging outside, and set the laptop down in front of him with the proof of purchase and ask him straight up, "Why did you get this?" He gets up and is pretending to not see it properly. I know he's thinking of a way to explain as he's wiping off the computer screen. He then takes another 30 seconds and says, "Oh, it was a mistake. I meant to buy something else." He notices me looking terrified at him with my arms protectively wrapped around me and begins frantically coming up with the most stupid excuses. He says, "I was getting a toothbrush light that helps with counting the seconds on each side." That being one of my personal favorite ones that he came up with. At this point, and even now, he doesn't know that I saw him watching the literal footage of our roommate. There he was, crying in the garage, acting like he had no idea it was a camera. I felt more sickened knowing that he was looking right at me and lying so well right to my terrified face. I then gave him basically the destroyed port, and off he goes to try and lie some more. He brings up a couple of laptops that he said were for gaming and is looking at the port saying, "I don't even think this thing has an SD card." I then start to get angry at how stupid he thought I actually was, and then say, "You know that there's an SD card, and I need you to get it right now." He looks at me and pretends he magically found some lying around the house. My adrenaline starts to go down and I get really focused. I put the SD card in our shared laptop. I click on the drive and behold, nothing. He deleted everything. There was even a file labeled captured that was magically empty. He was sitting with me still acting like he had no idea what was going on. I say to him, "Wow, good job managing to delete all of those videos." I shut the laptop feeling disgusted and mortified. I give myself some space and he acts like he did nothing wrong. It has now been 24 hours and he made dinner. I literally threw it out and left to get food in fear that he would poison me. I still haven't brought up the fact that I literally watched him watch those videos because I'm both terrified and exhausted. I reached out to 5 couples counselors. I didn't sleep and I'm honestly just completely mortified. What should I do? This is a nasty situation because this guy is literally spying on your female roommate, and that is not okay. But there is a silver lining because even though you've deleted something off of a memory card, it doesn't mean that those files can't be recovered. So if anything, you might be able to take the memory card as well as the laptop straight to the police. What he is doing is absolutely not okay, and he definitely needs to be accountable for it. I'm so sorry this is happening to you, but I completely understand that you would be mortified. I can't imagine my significant other doing this, betraying my trust as well as my roommate's trust, just to spy on somebody. It's absolutely terrifyingly disgusting, and I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And the next time you live stream, use the Cream of the Crop music. Search Cream of the Stream on Spotify or whatever platform you use for copyright-free music to use for your next stream.